Hello band world, it's Tati BandGeek. I know it's been a couple days since I last made a video. Things have been going on. You know the deal. It's been winter break. It's been, I guess, a fun winter break. Today is New Year's Eve. So I guess this one will be about what are your goals for New Year's Eve? Like, what are your musical goals? I guess one of mine would be to get all my scales, all 12 major scales, down in 1 minute. So far, I can get D, G, I'm thinking of circle of fifth. D, G, C, why can't I think? F, B flat, E flat, A flat, D flat. So I can get 8 of them in a minute and 30 seconds while still being efficient. So, yeah. So, musical goals. I guess a good way to achieve it would be practicing. So, how do y'all practice? I practice, I like to practice in the morning. And, oh, if y'all are wondering what I'm looking at, I make little notes about what I'm going to talk about. Yeah, it's on staff paper. I have a lot of staff paper thanks to my theory class. But I like to practice early in the morning because it always makes for a good day. Like, when I practice in the morning, it gets my brain going. It gets me started. I usually have a cup of coffee before I start practicing because I want to be awake, first of all, so that's always a good thing. So yeah, timing, I would prefer to practice in the morning. Another thing is always practice with a metronome. I mean, yeah, always practice with a metronome, because every time you don't, you're not getting better. When you need that internal beat so you don't rush or you don't drag, so always practice with a met, especially if you're a percussionist. Well, especially if you're a musician, just practice with a metronome all the time. I always do, so I have a pretty good in-ear beat by now. Another thing I guess would be, what do you wear when you practice? Preferably, I always wear something comfortable, which would just be like a t-shirt. I'm wearing sweatpants right now. I'm actually wearing sweatpants that say drumline on it. My drumline sweatpants, one of my favorite sweatpants I got at a competition. And I usually actually wear this hat all the time because my hair's kind of crazy, and I don't want my hair getting in my eyes distracting me, because when I'm practicing, I'm in practice mode. I don't want anything to distract me. And I mean, you shouldn't either. You don't want to get distracted while you're practicing. I mean, you're practicing. So I always usually wear a hat so my hair doesn't get in my face. Since it's been cold lately, it's kind of cold in my house, so I usually wear this one. Oh, and about practicing. I guess there's different ways you practice. Like, do you practice for like 3 hours twice a week, or do you practice like 45, maybe 10 minutes, 10 to 45 minutes every day? Like, I guess I want to practice every day, but I don't. I know I don't. But I guess I practice every other day more frequently. Usually on break, though. On break, I don't practice every day. At school, well, I kind of have to practice every day, so I tend to practice more when I'm in school, opposed to when I'm out of school. But, for break, like, it's been 2 weeks worth of winter break, and, now, you know, I have a xylophone at home, and I have a snare drum, and, to practice timpani, I use 4 pillows, which doesn't really practice mutes, but at least I get my music down. I usually practice for everything. I'm trying to think of how to say this. I think I pick an extra instrument that I want to practice with first, and it usually depends on if my mom is at work or if not. Because if she's home, I don't practice snare drum because, well, it's kind of loud and a bit obnoxious. But I do practice with a practice pad sometimes. But usually I like to start with mallets. I don't know why. I always like to start with mallets. But if my mom's not home, I'll probably start with snare to get that out of the way. But I like practicing mallets first usually. Like, I'll practice my scales first. Like, I'll go through all the scales I need for district, and then I'll just do all of them. So yeah, I time myself to make sure, you know, I'm timed for all district, and just see how fast it takes me to get through the scales efficiently. You always practice efficiently. Like, if you mess up a lot, just slow your tempo down and get it clean. Like, don't, crap, I messed up, crap, I messed up. Like, you're just training yourself to get it wrong. So slow it down, get it to where it's perfect, and then bring your tempo up. That's how I practice. Like, the piece I'm playing for all district, what I've been doing is, first I've worked on the first section. I just play it through, with the med, of course, and then I find out what I'm having the most trouble. I isolate that section, and then I take it slower, and then keep practicing until I get it up to where I need to, and then I do the whole section again, and if it's not up to par, I keep practicing that one section until it's up to par. And then I'll go to the next section and repeat, and then the next section and repeat to make sure I cleared up all the little details, and that I'm training my mind to think when I'm practicing, like thinking about, okay, this part I need my hand to be this way, I need to remember I'm I'm not going to double up here because I like to double up sometimes when I don't think about it. So, just training yourself to be proactive while you're practicing, not just to practice aimlessly because you're not learning anything. So I'll practice, and then I'll go through the piece a couple times, see what I mess up in the entire piece, so that I know what to also isolate. So yeah, that's why I practice that. Snare drum, I practice it about the same. Well, yeah, I practice pretty much the same way for everything. I find sections, I isolate it. I find problems in those sections, I highlight those sections, and then I practice those sections even more. Like there's this one, I'm not, like I said, mentioned before, I'm not really a snare player. There's this one section where it has drags, and I'm not very good at drag, so I'll isolate that. I've been isolating that section a lot. It's been getting better, so it's a good thing. I've been able to go through the entire piece now, because before I wasn't able to because I was always getting so nervous about that one measure. But now I go through the entire piece, because I've isolated that measure and worked on it more. With timpani, I guess, I don't know, I feel like timpani is just different. Like, it's not really sections I have problems with, it's when I actually get on the drums and how I play the drums is more my problem when I need to practice. So I actually need timpani there. The music's not hard. It's like you have 4 drums. It's not that hard. It's the actual, when you're playing, it gets hard. So I actually have to practice with that. But at least now I know my music, so when I practice, it'll be easier because I know what I'm playing. Always practice with the Met. I cannot stress that enough. Always practice with the Met. I guess another thing is, like lessons, if you take lessons, those lessons aren't practice times. Those are like, you're learning something, you're getting taught something, you're not practicing. Practicing is an individual thing. Like when you're with an instructor, you're not really practicing. You're getting, like if problems consist of problems you have that you haven't solved on your own and then they point out, that's being taught, that's not practicing. Like practicing is when you're by yourself and you're in your mental zone and you practice. Time management. I have this big problem where I'm always out and about. I'm almost never home. This is the most I've ever been home, and yeah. So I guess a big thing is like learning to manage your time and finding ways to practice and make yourself efficiently practice and make yourself actually get up and decide to practice, which I'm sure a lot of people have trouble with homework because like, I don't mind doing the homework. It's getting myself to actually go do it. So, yeah. But lately I've been pretty good with practicing because, I know I have a time crunch and I know I have college and I really want to go to college and I really want to go to music school. So I've kind of been proactively trying to practice more. So, but yeah, try and manage your time more. Like, if you know you have a busy week, find a place, like, maybe after you eat dinner before you go to bed, or after you take a shower, just maybe, like, 10-15 minutes, just practice. Like, even that will do something. Like, you don't have to practice for, like, an hour. Percussionist, I'm sorry, you probably do have to practice for an hour since you have all these instruments, but you don't really need to practice for an hour, at least if you hit everything that you need to get done and kind of go through it. Make sure you just practice efficiently. Don't just, I'm done. But, like, be aware of what you're doing. But, like, find a time, like, before dinner, after dinner, before you take a shower, before you go to bed. When you wake up in the morning, maybe wake up 15 minutes earlier just to practice if your parents don't mind. Oh, distractions. I know I get distracted a lot. Like, if I'm practicing, suddenly there's, like, a bug. I'm like, what is that bug doing? Oh, crap, I have to practice. Or if my phone buzzes, I'm like, I'm gonna go answer it. Which is, okay, so when you practice, keep your phone away from you. Keep your phone away from you. You will want to answer it. If you get a text, you will want to check what the text is about, and you want to reply, and then you're in this conversation for an hour. That happens to me more than you think. But, yeah. Oh, and take mental breaks. Okay, I don't know if I can stress this enough. If you just go, like, 3 hours worth of practicing, and you've just been practicing, your brain is going to explode. You need to take a couple mental breaks, breathe in, be aware of what you've been doing, and then go back to practicing. Don't just attack practicing, because you're gonna get tired, you're gonna get mad, you're gonna get frustrated, because, oh crap, there's this part I can't play, and you're gonna keep trying, you're just gonna get mad. And when you're mad, you can't practice efficiently, because you're angry. Oh. This is something an instructor had told me, that you need to love to practice. I mean, a lot of people don't like to practice because you're like, ugh. But, like, I've actually learned to really like practicing because I know that the more I practice, the better I'll get. So that doesn't really bother me anymore. But at first I was like, I don't want to practice, I don't want to practice. And what he had said was that if you don't want to practice and you don't want to get better, then music's not for you. Like, by not practicing, you're not going to get better, and then by that, you're going to affect everybody else who is trying to get better. So I guess it's not practicing that you need to love, but you need to love to advance. You don't want to just, I can do it okay, so that's fine. No, I don't want to do it okay. I want to be able to do it well. I want to do it efficiently, properly. I mean, I know it's music. There's no efficient way to play it, but you know how music is. If you don't play it at your 100%, then it's not even worth playing anymore. Because everybody around you has to play it at their 100%. I know this is kind of a long video, but this is more of a this is like the first topic video I've had that I'm not actually talking like about myself, but like a topic like practicing. But yeah, as you know, it's been winter break, so that's all I've been really doing is practicing. And yeah, New Year's Eve, and I guess my goal is to get accepted into a music school of any of the colleges of my choice. I'd be completely happy with, and you know, start my life as my own person. Like, when you're at home and you're like in high school, you're not really your own person. You're like your parents' person, because you have to listen to them and you need to abide by them. But when you get out into college, it's like you're finally your own individual person, where you don't need to be worried about anything else but yourself. I mean, if you're in band, of course, well, no, you really need to just worry about yourself. Like, make sure you're doing what you need to do so that other people are okay with that. Ugh, I don't know how to explain that properly. Like, if you're in a band, if you're not doing what you're supposed to do, then the band's not okay, because then they're at your level. Like, here's the band, and if you're here, the band can't get any better. They go down to where you are because you're part of it. Like, every person needs to get their part for the band to get better, is what I'm trying to say. So, as long as you're doing what you're doing and you're responsible for yourself, then you're okay. And that's what I'm aiming for, like, to where I don't need somebody to tell me to practice, and I don't need my mom to tell me to do this, or my band director to tell me to do this. Like, I take it into account that I need to do it myself. So, yeah, I guess a little bit of advice there. You know, learn to be responsible, because when you get to college, it's just you. And yeah, I hope everybody has a good New Year's Eve. Don't get too wasted, don't get too drunk. I mean, I'm probably not going to listen to that, but just have fun, be safe, have a good New Year. I'll probably come up with a video around practice time, you know, explaining, you know, how practice is going for me, for indoor especially, because that's going to be coming up pretty soon with competition and all. So yeah, have an awesome New Year's, have a good year, and hope for the best. Always hope for the best.